Welcome back to Parliament, and we continue gauging the expectation of the political parties represented here in Parliament. And with me now from the National Freedom Party is, of course, Professor Khubisa. Thanks so much for coming through. So what are your expectations for tonight's State of the Nation address?
Well, from our side, we expect His Excellency the President to speak on the matter of redeeming our country, the image of our country, with the appalling revelations by Khubisa that the money of the state was siphoned by so many people, billions wasted down the drain, which money would have been used for service delivery. So we want to hear exactly how the image of the country will be redeemed, because the SONA Commission will be there, come and go. But it is the duty of the government to stabilize our country, to bring it to the mold. So we want the President to speak on that one. Secondly, the issue that comes to the fore is the whole issue of service delivery. Our schools are dilapidated, they are falling apart, and we still have mud schools, we have pit toilets. What is it that will be done? Because we've been speaking about this thing for 25 years and nothing has been done. The health system, it's in shambles. Something must be done about it. Now, coming to a very important issue, which to us is very fundamental, is the issue of unemployment for our youth. It's so high and it's really appalling. What is it that we do to make sure that we create a climate for job creation in our country? We need that climate, because for so long, for 25 years, we have failed. Unemployment is above 27% in this country. So the whole issue of joblessness, we cannot live around when we have about 9 million or more people who are unemployed in our country. Now, another issue which is important is the whole issue of turning around the SOEs. What is happening in Eskom? What are other forms of alternative energy? Eskom is projecting it will have about 20 billion loss. What is that will be done to ensure we turn it around? And then the whole issue of land is...
Professor Khubisa, and we are unfortunately out of time, but I have to ask you, doesn't it feel a bit like deja vu? Don't you feel like you've said this before? We've been here before.
We've been here before, and it's very interesting that we're getting to the election. We don't need a campaign election card. We need tangibles with the time frames. What is it that will be done for our people to get service delivery? We need to turn around the country, because the image of the country is in tatters at the moment.
Professor Khubisa from the National Freedom Party there, and stepping into shot now for their expectations and what they hope to hear from President Cyril Ramaphosa tonight is Mr. Kwankwa from the United Democratic Movement. Thanks for coming through. So as the UDM, and you've been doing quite a bit of work yourself continentally, but what are your expectations from tonight's SONA?
Well, the number one issue would be job creation on our part, because Sakina, most young people in our country bear the brunt of poverty and unemployment, because ANC policies so far have not delivered jobs for them, nor have they been able to deliver economic growth at this point in time. Sakina, I want to put one matter into perspective. For an example, the ANC government borrowed more than R1 trillion over the past 8 years, but they were not able to make a dent in the youth unemployment rate or just in the general unemployment rate in the country, nor were they able to reduce inequality. It's clear where the money was going to. It went to all the front companies of the ANC, hence they were being greased by Agrizi over the years, and it went to corruption. So we want to make it clear that the ANC government must outline a program that's going to address that issue, to ensure that going forward there's going to be value for money in instances where they borrow money. The second issue, Sakina, I hear people saying that this government has appointed a commission of inquiry into state capture. It is Professor Thuli Madonsela, in her capacity as the public protector of the Republic of South Africa, who actually initiated the process. The judge was sponsored by Judge Mukwege, because remember, the ANC was too compromised to be able to even do that. President Zuma only did an announcement. He was just a communications office. The Commission of Inquiry into PIC, it's the UDM actually, and not the ANC government, that initiated that whole process. Meaning, as opposition parties, in particular as the UDM, we work together, especially in instances where we feel that we have to put our narrow partisan interests aside to try and clean up the system and make sure that there's clean governance, and that those who are found guilty of corruption are held to account. That, for an example, what we want now is to see politicians in particular being persecuted for the corruption that we've seen during the state capture inquiry. But I think what is also important for us is to say that President Cyril Ramaphosa needs to make a bold statement about how his government intends to turn around SOEs. I've been sitting in all of these SOE portfolio committees in Parliament. We say the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing gets done. We looked recently at one of the reports, for example, of the Public Enterprises Committee. It's the recommendations that we started making way back in 2014 that have never been implemented. So it's a complete waste of money.
Well, that's the UDM's view, and no doubt we will catch up with all of them tonight after the delivery of the State of the Nation address by President Cyril Ramaphosa. It is President Ramaphosa's second State of the Nation address. His first was last year, and of course this is the first of two State of the Nation addresses in this year, given that Parliament will be dissolved before elections, and then there will be another State of the Nation address for the 6th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. With that, for now, it's goodbye from us here at Parliament.